Hey everybody, GReimer here, coming at you once again from the Lost Isle Zoo, here on the ZAWA Together server, doing a little bit more building, getting a little bit more of the zoo done. Slowly, bit by bit, this place will get finished. Eventually. Oh, if I sound a little weird, I am sorry. I'm recovering from being sick recently, so I'm not 100%, but I'm like, I'd say like a good 85. I'm a good 85% good. But if I sound a little weird, that's probably why. But alright, let's get on into this stuff. Let's get doing some building. Last episode, it wasn't last week, because last week we weren't able to get an episode out, and then there was some technical difficulties where I couldn't log on to the server because of Microsoft, apparently. Authentication servers were all acting up weird. Very frustrating. So we kind of missed last week's live stream. But I'm going to do in this episode what I was planning on doing during that live stream. All right, we're going back to the deer exhibit, the mouse deer exhibit, because there's this whole top section here that I want to get done. Now, I do have some mouse deer to put in there, and you guys were kind enough to put down a whole bunch of names down in the comments section for those mouse deer. And I'm going to do things a little backwards today, all right? Normally I name the deer, and then I go in there. Or normally I name the deer and then I get on to the next exhibit. I'm going to finish this exhibit, the top part of it at least, including up here. I'm hoping to anyway, or at least get the grass done. Mainly it's up here I want to finish, and then maybe throw in a little bit of ruins and stuff right up here. And then I'm going to, at the end of the episode, I'm going to name the deer. So, all right, let's get to doing some work here on this. I mentioned in this episode where we built this exhibit here that it would be really cool once this top part actually has a bunch of like vines and stuff draping down into it. So that's one of the things that we're going to be working on. I don't think I'm alone in here. See that, or it's a fish that's underneath. Nope. There was a tarantula in here. They're everywhere. They're everywhere around here. I do think it's going to look really cool when the vines are put in, so I'm going to be working on that for sure. So I'm going to need to get in here, maybe be placing some blocks to pillar up there. You know they have scaffolding in this game. I'm not going to use it, but whatever. To get up here and actually get the vines kind of draping down and whatnot. So I'm going to need to get in here, be building a little bit. So that's the reason why I'm going to save adding the deer for later. But what blocks am I going to use? So obviously to build up here, I'm going to need a lot of grass. And that's just because I got to cover this area with grass, and that's going to take a while. But then I'm also going to need different. Here, let me sacrifice this this tarantula to the ocean. Maybe a good old hammerhead will come by and just chow down on it. Be free. Bloop. All right. I'm going to need some grass blocks for sure. But then we're going to go ahead and add a few palm trees up there and whatnot too. And then, like I said, I want to get some ruins kind of placed up there. Maybe sun rises over there. I'm trying to think about if I can tie it in with the sun, like put like a weird temple looking thing up here. I don't really think I can. It rises over there. I was hoping it would rise over there, but no, it doesn't. Or I mean, I guess I could just face it that way. But yeah, first things first, we got to get the grass put down so that we can get to adding in the foliage. I'm probably going to need to go grab some more jungle leaves too. All right, we have got a lot of grass put down. What was only a blink of an eye for you has been like quite a bit of time for me. All right, I put down a whole bunch of grass here, cover this whole entire area. Here's the hole for the mouse deer right here. All right, so this is where we're going to be working primarily. If I do have time, I'm going to work on the ruins I mentioned earlier. That is kind of the goal today, but I am pressed for time today, so we're going to focus on making sure that the mouse deer exhibit is done first, and then I'll go on to the rest of it. Now, I think this looks really cool. I like how the dirt is kind of like creating a little bit of the overhang as well, not just the stone. So now it's time to do the foliage and the leaves. I killed another couple of tarantulas though, because these things are everywhere around here. So yeet, just throw those things off into the ocean. Let me put this bucket back because I don't need it. I did have a zookeeper show up. I was trying to put him in a capture cage, but he ended up going away instead because couldn't get him in the capture cage and I needed to finish the build. So sucks for him. Anyway, so we're going to get on to doing the foliage up here though. So I'm going to start off with, do I have enough jungle leaves? I said I might have to go grab more. I do have quite a few. Not a not a lot. But I think it should be enough to at least get these things done, especially if I mix in some oak leaves with them too. So I'm going to create like the vines kind of draping down here. And I'll probably use leaves to pillar up here actually because they don't get rid of grass and stuff. But first things first, I'm going to have to put a bunch of foliage around the edge of this. Alright, I think that's probably about enough bushes. there's like a stack and a half of jungle leaves up here now. Let's drop on down. Ah, my ankles. Let's drop on down and focus on actually building like upwards here, or getting up there so we can start drooping the vines downward. I think I'm going to use this log as a great pillaring spot to get up here. And I gotta basically droop these things down a ways, not too far though, because I don't want it to like impede the view of the exhibit, obviously. So I don't really want to go too nuts with this, but I do want to have it make it look like the foliage is kind of creeping in here, you know, like something like so. Like maybe thicken that up a little bit. I do want to also integrate in a couple of oak leaves in with this too, just to add a little block diversity to the mix here, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in all of these vines, and we'll see what we come up with. Okay, with a lot of tweaking later, I came up with this, and I think this looks pretty good. You can barely even tell that there's an opening back there too. Like, it's really heavily covered in foliage right there. But I think this looks pretty good. Definitely looks like the foliage and the leaves and stuff and the vines are creeping in from the outside, that's for sure. And it doesn't block the view of the exhibit either, so I really like how this turned out. I think that looks really good. Now, let's get up top here, because we got some work to do up here. I think this is probably going to be about the time that Cinnamon is going to enjoy this episode the most. Cinnamon on the server here loves it when I build palm trees, but I think it's I think it's time that I get a couple palm trees placed up here to really kind of make this tie together. I want to actually have some of them kind of hanging over the edge a little bit, you know, like maybe I might even start one like right here, you know. I think that might be a good idea. Good call. Good call. This tree is going to be dedicated to our very own favorite spice on the server, Cinnamon. Let me get this thing built real quick. Ta-da! All right, for those of you who have seen my live streams, you know that I build a lot of these. A lot. I mean a lot of palm trees. Every palm tree you've seen on this island, actually, has been custom built block by block. Alright, so, you know how that all goes together. But there's one. I gotta add a few more of them, though, because this isn't done up here. This one specifically is for Cinnamon. Cinnamon, this tree's for you. All the rest of them are gonna be for other people, though. But yeah, definitely Cinnamon's palm tree right there, drooping over the mouse deer exhibit. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna sprinkle in a few more of them. Like, probably about this many more of them. Alright, there's quite a few. Quite a few. It's going to take me a hot minute to actually build all these things, okay? So I got just a whole bunch of single palm trees dotted throughout this area, except for right here I'm going to do a double. And then, yeah, this is going to take me a little bit, but once it's actually, you know what? We're going to throw in one more right here. One more right here, just drooping off that way. Ugh, give me a second. Okay. What was definitely just a blink of an eye for you guys was like an hour for me. Alright, so I got all the palm trees built. Okay, I actually eliminated one right there because I'm running a little low on supplies, so I'll have to go get those later. Future GReimer issue, you know? We're gonna have that. We're gonna dish that off onto future GReimer. But alright, so we got this part done. Oh, hello. Goodbye. We got this part done. We got the trees put down up here. I don't think I'm going to get to the ruins later today, like what I was planning on doing. But I wouldn't mind incorporating some of them up around this area too, because the plan was to put the ruins, and it still is, just for future GReimer again, screw that guy, is to put them all kind of speckled in here amidst the trees, you know, or amongst the trees. So that's kind of the plan. So I still want to do a little bit of that, especially around this area up here. So let's grab some mossy bricks, I'm thinking, some cracked stone bricks, some stone bricks, some gravel, and some cobblestone possibly. And hold on, wait, where's there's one right here. I kind of wouldn't mind, actually, you know what, we'll make it out of cobble. We'll make it out of cobble, we'll do that. Wouldn't mind getting some of those things built too. So, alright, let's break that real quick before it kills the grass underneath. Alright, so I want to put down like some kind of like markers, almost like you know, on hiking trails sometimes they'll put down markers to kind of say, hey, this is, you know, you're on the right path. It's like a path marker. So, I kind of want to put some of those things down near here, so if anything, to warn people of the giant hole that's in the ground. Although, granted, the hole probably wasn't here when the civilization was. Whatever. It's just going to add a little extra detail to the area. So let's get some of this stuff ready here. This will be almost like it could also be just remnants of an old settlement area here too, like a fence post or something. Maybe this was the farming section. Could be all that fun stuff. There's a whole lot of explanation as to why there might be a little marker out here. So let's do this, and then we'll. Oh, hold on. Another thing that I wouldn't mind getting. Where's my backpack that has all this stuff? I don't think it's this one, is it? No, it does have some stuff in it, but it doesn't have the stuff I'm looking for. Does it have slabs? It does have brick slabs here. These things, that's what I'm looking for, cobble slabs. I think cobblestone looks good for, like, things being broken down. You know, like this right here. I think this looks pretty good. Like, so, and then maybe we'll throw, a mossy brick on there. And actually, no, hold on, let's take that out completely. Let's throw a piece of gravel on it, and then we'll, bam, slap that on top. So that's like the marker for something being in the area. That's what I'm talking about, is little things like that. Little remnants of ruins that maybe aren't very clear what the purpose is because they've been destroyed over the eons, you know? But I kind of want to sprinkle them in periodically throughout this entire area. Okay, I kind of lied a little bit. I am actually putting a ruin in here just because I think I can squeeze it in. Squeeze in enough time. So I'm going to replace some of this ground right here. Because I did put some very rough walls put in, so this one was really badly destroyed. I'm going to put in some really rough flooring in here too. Not that. That's no bueno. Really rough flooring in here as well too. I think I usually incorporate some andesite in here as well, and then also some coarse dirt and gravel, and maybe a little bit of cobble, and that should spell mama. Okay, there we go. This is good. This is good for a ruin, I think. As well as I should probably add in like a couple of bits like sticking up in the middle here. I don't really want to cover the interstate. Not like this really matters. You can't see this stuff from what down in the zoo. This is just added detail for the sake of adding detail. but I'm gonna add in a couple of little chunks of rock sticking up like this because as like the ceiling and everything else will look like. Ceiling most likely was not made out of stone though, so that would have decayed over the years. But little chunks of stuff being kicked around and moved around by wind or falling logs or whatever, things hitting it, whatever, might have added you know, debris kind of scattered throughout the middle of it as well. So there. Alright, I think that looks pretty good for the ruins. I added a couple little bits of stuff around the hole over here too, so that we can kind of mark that out as well. And I think that's good enough. Now, I think the next thing I got to do is add a lot of leaves. So I'm going to place a lot of leaves in this area. Okay, a whole lot of leaves later. Here we are. I don't think I'm going to add any more than this in this part right here. If you look at the mini-map right here, let's zoom in a little bit. You can see I covered this entire area. I still have to add a lot of the trees and stuff over in this huge section right here, so I'm not going to do the foliage over there quite yet. Another future GReimer issue. but here's... God, I'm piling a lot on that guy. Alright, but this is what I got right here. I got a bunch of leaves put down. Now, I wouldn't mind actually paying a little bit of attention to this area right here. Because the leaves are going to be draping down here. Again, another spot for some good like vine action to be added into here. So let me see if I can't just pillar up here a little bit. Oh, big old leg spike. Pillar up here just a little bit. And ooh, not that. See if I can't make this come to life a little. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. Definitely looks like it's drooping down. Well overgrown for sure. And it doesn't completely block off this. It kind of frames this this exhibit a little bit. I like this a lot. All right, sweet. Yeah, this looks good. All right, let's get back up to the top and go over to this cliff edge. There's a lot of cliff edges on this island. All right, we're going to do the same thing here where I'm going to try to build this up a little bit. I kind of butchered that immediately right off the bat. Maybe something as simple as that will be fine. I want to kind of droop in a couple other spots too. Nothing fancy, nothing too fancy at least. Just a couple spots where the foliage is kind of drooping off the edge here and creating some nifty vines. Like I already got one right here. It looks pretty good. And I don't want to go too all out with it either. So like, you know, a couple spots will be just like something like that. And maybe just a little bit of overhang right there. And probably should do something here as well. Yeah, alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now, let's get up top here and take a big overview of everything. Definitely looks like there's a lot of foliage in here. Definitely looks like the rest of the island as well, too. That was kind of the important part here, is to get it to blend in to look like the rest of the island. Remember, right here, this was just black sand with sprouts on it, and that was it. In fact, over here is just a warm ocean. This isn't even the volcanic plains anymore. So to get this all to look the same, it's going to take quite a bit of effort. Now, I think the next thing to do, and the last thing to do in this area here, I don't really know if I need to go through and sprinkle a whole lot of like pebbles in the area because you can't see up here anyway. I guess it would make sense. Hold on, Squid Backpack, help me out here. It would make sense, especially around the ruins here, for there to be chunks of stuff dotted around. Because little bits of stuff breaking down and stuff. I guess I'll go through and dot in some pebbles. I'm contradicting myself. The exhibit isn't finished, although it's not an exhibit. The exhibit isn't finished until it's got pebbles. Voila. All right, pebbles have been added. I think the next thing to do is to store all of the jungle leaves, because I don't need those anymore, and grab a whole bunch of bones and bone meal, because it's time to bone meal this area up like crazy. Okay, I think that's it. I think that is a done part of the zoo right here. I think the mouse deer exhibit is finally finished. Quite a bit of effort put into this little deer, actually, to try to make this thing look really fancy and schmancy. But yeah, I think this is it. I think this is done. I think we're finished with the mouse deer exhibit completely, which means now I gotta add the actual little guys into the thing. So, look at this thing. Look at this. It's just a ridiculously detailed exhibit. Holy cow. All right, well, you guys dropped some names in the comment section of the last video. So I am going to pick out my favorite ones. I believe I have 3. I think I have 3 of them. Don't quote me on that. But I'm going to go pick out my favorite ones or the most requested ones, and we're going to name these little guys. Okay, so here we go. Let's get to naming these things here. So, the first mouse deer is going to be named Humble Hoof. Okay, Humble Hoof, without the E in there too, so Humble Hoof, and that was suggested by Captain Astral. I think that's a fantastic name for a deer. The next one is going to be named Deerling, after the Pokemon, because SlothBuddy206 actually suggested it, and I think it's perfect. And the third and final one, big epic name here, you ready for this? Dot. It's gonna be named Dot. That is one of the Warner siblings, a tale I'm not very familiar with, but Star Danny out there apparently is. So thank you to you 3 for naming these deer. Let's go get them in their exhibit. This place is looking fantastic as it comes swooping in here. Holy cow. I'm really liking the greenery added on this episode. Whew, that is insane. All right, let's get in here. Now, apparently, down in the comment section, somebody suggested that these things are actually nocturnal, which makes the whole... you know, cave kind of entrance thing here with very little light in there actually make a lot of sense. That was on accident, but you know what? I'll pretend like it was, like it wasn't. All right, so let's get these things in here. I don't think these things are going to attack me, and these all are female variants of them. So there's lesser, and then Indian spotted version that I have as well. But they're all female. I believe it's the males that have the fangs, which is a little disheartening because I would have loved to have seen a little vampire deer. But all right, let's get these things dropped in here. Little mouse deer. First one is going to be Deerling. Bink, let's put him on. Look at how cute he is. Look at how cute he is. Look at him. He's adorable. Look at him. He's adorable. Look, he's tiny. All right, let's get over here and drop down Dot. Let's put Dot in right there. Bam. Dot, welcome. Alright, so those are the lesser variants. Now let's see what the Indian... What's this one called again? Indian spotted one looks like. Oh, look at that. It's like a fawn. That's adorable. There you go. That's going to be Humble Hoof. Welcome. You guys are so cute! Oh, sorry. Tinnikin on the server has suggested that I have cuteness aggression. She might have a point. I get a little aggressive whenever I see cute things. Look at it! Okay, sorry. Okay. Alright, let's get out of here. Alright, so the deer have been added. The exhibit is done on top. It looks pretty overgrown, that's for sure. Holy cow. I think it looks good, though. We got the palm trees added. We got a lot of stuff added. We got a ton of grass added. And I think that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. I didn't get to adding as many ruins as I'd like to in there, but I'll future GReimer issue. But alright, you guys, I'm going to wrap this episode up. So if you did enjoy, please go down and smash that like button. It would really help me out a lot. And thank you guys so much for donating your eyeballs and ear holes to this episode. Don't go anywhere yet. Hold on. If you guys are watching this on the day that this releases, okay, that this drops, later today at 6 p.m. Eastern time, there's going to be a public 7K event server opening up with Java 1.21.10. I think is what it is, and it's going to be open to anyone who wants to come and play all weekend. 48 hours. We're going to keep the server up and running. We're playing super flat survival. All right, so hopefully you guys come and join in and play it at some point throughout the weekend, if not the entire weekend. I'm going to be live streaming, so enjoy. I will see you guys later on today. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you later. Bye bye.